guest here at calmclass.com. This website is dedicated to one thing: to be able to give you a different mindset. To be able to stay calm in tough times is by changing how you think, because when you change how you think, it changes how you live. My name's Dwight Bain. I'll be your host through most of these lessons, but I'm really glad that you found us. I'm really glad that you're taking time out to watch a lesson that will be life-changing. So do this. Take good notes. Download the study guides. Let these life application principles make your life a better place. And then would you let us know how this is helping you? My thanks to you for watching. My thanks to our incredible team for making it happen. But most of all, my thanks to God, because He gives us principles that will change our life if we use them. Are you ready? Let's get started. Before we talk about a lesson to challenge you, let's talk to God. Lord, thank you for these friends. Thank you for those that join us online at calmclass.com. Thank you for the chance to be a teacher who says, hey, come follow me. I live this. Let me show you how to live it too. I pray, God, that you would use this lesson to change hearts, but most of all, God, that you would use this lesson to change mine. And we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. When you think about motivating, Jay, you can take that part out. When you think about motivating people, this is a motivational tool, right? Well, you know, this describes the governmental leadership of a lot of countries around the world. You will do it because I said so and I have a bigger bat. U.S. President Teddy Roosevelt said, speak softly. Hey, how you guys doing? Carry a big stick, right? So this is a motivational tool. I think it probably will get you arrested. However, some people talk about motivating with a stick. You beat it into them. I want you to know, this only works as long as you're there with the stick. When the club goes away, so does motivation. That's not how you motivate. That's not how you deal with a moody person. Now I want you to know, it may be what you feel like. It absolutely may be what you feel like. You know, it's like the Hallmark card that said, if you love something, set it free. If it comes back to you, it's yours. Then you open up the card and it says, and if it just sits there watching television, unaware that it's been set free, you probably already married or gave birth to it. So you may feel like motivating this way, but this only works as long as you're there to fuss or cuss or beat. And so if you're a manager, if you're involved in leadership in your company, if you use this approach, and I want you to know, not just many companies, some people would tell you in certain industries, most leaders, this is how they lead. All right? And this doesn't work. It certainly doesn't work long term. Yes, if you hold a gun to somebody's head, you can take their money. But as soon as you leave, they will not keep doing it that way. Now here's how you motivate. Here's how you motivate. These are organic. I had to search at Publix, and because I knew I wanted organic. Because I know some of you, and I was hoping that Barbara would be here because I know that organic carrots make the carrot better. To me, they kind of look smaller than the other kind, which have all the wonderful genetic things that are going to make me big and strong, you know, all the things that are added, right? So there's an old saying that you can motivate with a carrot or with a stick, right? So that flows out of, really up until about 100 years ago when people used domestic animals, horses, mules, that you would have to, right, you know, you've got to beat it to make it. But what if you could use the stick to attach the carrots, to get those carrots out in front of that farm animal? Now all of a sudden, you know what you have? You have motivation. Because farm animals want the carrot. Here's the principle. I'm going to give you 10 things that don't work, 10 reasons why people don't stay motivated. I'm going to share with you one carrot that always works. Are you ready? Take a look in your study guide. Because in your study guide, on the front cover, from Harriet Beecher Stowe, humankind is above all, what?
Stubborn.
Lazy. Humankind is above all lazy. And there was a young man, in fact, some of you may even realize who this is before I tell you his full name. There was a young man, he was born in 1936. He went on to star in 40 different films, won 2 Academy Awards, and was given knighthood by the French government. A leading environmentalist, one of the most successful people in his industry. But he didn't start that way, because young Charles finished high school, not a good student, no noticeable talents. And even though Charles would go on to have an incredibly successful career, it started, like a lot of people, not so well. Didn't do well in high school, no chance of even getting accepted into college. So his dad, because that's what parents do, his dad got him a job where he worked at Standard Oil. And he got fired from the job as an 18-year-old, fresh out of high school, because he was caught sleeping on the job. Not the first time. His dad had a lot of influence, and his dad said, I'll get you another job at Standard Oil. And on the other job, he broke so much product in the packaging and shipping that they not just fired him, they banned Charles and said, you can never work here again. So he thought, well, and some people said, you're kind of good looking. Have you thought about this new thing called television? So he tried it. He was actually on, according to Wikipedia, he was actually on 9 different television shows. And they said, this isn't your thing. So he tried acting. Now remember, this is a guy who's been in 40 movies. He tried acting on Broadway. It's a very different discipline than film. And Charles didn't do well there. He did well in one play in 1963, but they didn't renew him to have that part after that particular show finished. So what do you do when you failed at Standard Oil, you failed in shipping, now he's in his early 20s, you failed at television, and you failed at stage. What do? You go to college. That's exactly what you do. I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. I'll go to college. University of Colorado. And he was there for 3 semesters. And one semester got worse, and the next semester got worse, and by the 3rd semester, wasn't just dropped out of college, the University of Colorado forbid him to come back. Have you figured out who Charles is? No. Charles, after getting kicked out of the University of Colorado, met some people who said, you know, we're going to film this movie, and you have a little bit of background in television and stage. Why don't you try it? Remember, this is how you motivate. When you can find the one thing, motivation is not hard. It's not hard at all. And for young Charles Robert Redford, he dropped his first name after so many failures. He went to film as Robert Redford. 40 different movies, directed 9. He's done 25 different documentaries. And with the success and the money, because he'd had so many failures, when you start to get into a little bit of money, you do one of 2 things. You party like a rock star, bad plan, or you sock all your money away. And he socked his money away, and a girl that he'd met at the University of Colorado said, you know what, my family are from Utah, and there's a ski resort that has gone bankrupt. I think we could buy that with the success of your one film, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. And so they bought this bankrupt ski resort outside of Park City, Utah. They renamed it Sundance, and literally the father of the independent film movement came out of a lot of failures. But once young Charles Robert, figured out, you know what, movies are different. Movies take people to a different place. The film Jeremiah Johnson was filmed mostly at Sundance, the ski area that was out in Utah. And that's his favorite film, One Man Against the Odds. But that's what independent films do. It's not following a trusted method. It's saying, what's the one thing inside, and how can you translate that one thing? That's what we're talking about. Because just like Robert Redford, who wasn't successful till he figured out the one thing. By the way, the University of Colorado, 30 years after they kicked him out, permanently banned, they said, could you come back and could we give you an honorary degree from the University of Colorado? He has several honorary doctorates, Ruth. Several honorary doctorates. It's amazing. You know, we will kick you out here, but if you become very famous and successful, the University of Colorado loves you. Just please come back and bring your alumni dollars with you, right? He found the one thing. I want you to find the one thing in your study guide. Let's look at the 10 things that don't work. How come people aren't motivated? I mean, is it because they don't want things? No, I don't think that's it. I think there are 10 reasons. Number one, they're exhausted from activity. They're exhausted from activity. And to be exhausted from activity, and many times it's not just activity to generate income, it's activity to gain acceptance, the 3 A's, to gain acceptance, affection, or approval. They're working extremely hard, so hard they are completely exhausted. Edna Ferber, in a book, said, kind of commenting on a different time, she said, then there were long, lazy summer afternoons when there was nothing to do but read and dream and watch the town go by to get to their supper. I think that's why our great men and great women have so often sprung from small towns or small villages. They've had time to dream in their adolescence. She said, no cars to catch, no matinees, no city streets, none of the teeming, empty, energy-consuming occupations of the city child. Little that is competitive, much that is unconsciously absorbed at the most irrepressible period. They had long evenings for reading, long afternoons in the fields, or long afternoons in the woods, just to read and to dream. And I thought, well, that makes a lot of sense, because who do you know that's not busy? Everybody's busy. There are 6-year-olds that are busy. I mean, everybody's busy and they're running, but if you're busy and running, you can't find the one thing, because you're so busy. Exhausted, number one problem. Number two problem, entitlement. Entitlement mindset, which is supported by culture. I thought it was interesting. In a study done at Notre Dame University, they found out of young men who are angry at their parents. Teenagers who are angry at their parents. Really upset at their parents. Of those young men who are angry, who in the past would have run away. 78% in a study done, a 2-year study done at Notre Dame, 78% said, I would run away from mom and dad, but I'm too lazy to run away. Because if you run away, you have to actually live on the streets. You have to actually find your own toilet paper. You have to pay for your own toothpaste. So I am angry at my mother, but I shall not leave my mother because I'm too lazy to run away. And do you ever wonder, why the moms, it's like, just, you're playing Xbox for 10 years. Just grow up. Do something with your life. All right, entitlement mindset, supported by culture. C. Joy Bell said, the problem of society today, the American people have an attitude of entitlement. People gauge everything by feeling, whether they feel like doing it or whether they don't feel like doing it. Passion is valued over dedication to the job. Instant gratification is prized over true fulfillment. They don't know that more than feeling, intuition is a better driver. They don't know that more than passion, fulfillment, and dedication are the better keys. True passion will produce dedication and ultimately fulfillment. If not, then it should not be called passion. It should just be called a lack of self-control. They should just call it a lack of maturity. Because when you think about an entitlement mentality is, I don't want to work, I want you to work and take care of me. All right? The entitlement mentality is one of the reasons why people are not successful. Like the quote in your study guide, Jared Kent said, I can't do my job if you don't do your job. I also cannot do my job, so can you do my job too? When we take a look at this number 3 principle, expectations of easy success. Expectations of easy success. We live in a culture where people many times will say, you know what? It's going to be easy. I've got a plan. Here's what's going to happen. And they take out of it this thing called hard work. And the expectations of easy success are, I'm just going to cruise along until I slip and fall, and then I'm going to call the guy whose name is on the side of the bus. You know, if you fall, call this number. Because then I'm going to sue my employer for $500 million because my employer woke up that day and said, I am going to get that sucker. I am going to leave some water on the floor so they can slip and fall. And they did it on purpose because I'm follically challenged. They are picking on my civil right to be follically challenged. Those of you who do not know what follically challenged is, Patrick will be happy to explain it to you. He and I suffer from the same disorder. I'm looking for federal funding myself.
Actually, I can grow.
Oh man, no, why did you tell me that? I thought with such a talented man we were kindred spirits and we could go and we could petition the federal government and we could get the funding that we need, hundreds of millions of dollars, because of how unkind fate has been to us for taking our follicle away.
Right, let it go.
Hey, that'd be a good Disney song, wouldn't it? It's going to be easy. I'm not going to work hard at anything. I'm just going to buy a scratch-off ticket, and my life is going to be good. Okay, but just go down that road for a minute. If you get a big settlement, remember, the attorneys usually get about half. And if you don't change your lifestyle, if you win a big lottery, if you don't understand how to manage money, the average lotto winner within 7 years is worse off financially than the day they won the money. Because remember, that's taxed at 50%. So it's like, I won $100 million. No, you won 50. But when you win $50 million, you still have 50, right? And then now all the relatives that you didn't know come out of the woodwork. Absolutely, that's right. I mean, they come out of the woodwork. And then you say, let's buy, we've got $50 million, so let's donate. Sure, we'll donate some, and then let's buy a $10 million house, which comes with $25,000 of electric bills, which comes with taxes, which comes with lawn service, and pretty soon, 7 years. And let's buy a bunch of cars, go on a bunch of trips, and nobody works. All right, here's how it works, kids. If you have a big pot of money, and you keep taking from it, and you do not put money back in it, it goes away. There is a solution for that. It is to have a rich uncle, or to believe in a government system that says, don't work, we'll take care of you. All right? Nobody has a rich uncle who's going to do that, and I promise you, the government will not do that. If you take out more than you put in, there's no easy lifestyle. Just, it's real simple. Travel to other parts of the world and test that theory. Travel to other parts of the world and take a look at places that practice that. And what you'll see is chaos, and you won't see easy success. You'll see chaos. You'll see rioting, and you'll see war. That's not a motivator. That's a demotivator. Entitlement or entertainment doesn't model work ethic. And I put a picture of kind of a classic in the study guide if you're watching at comclass.com. All right, so there's a picture of mom and the kids being able, there it is, mom and the kids being able to sit and watch the television. And when you think about the entertainment industry, does the entertainment industry really model people working hard? Do they show the work that's involved? They'll show the success of a Taylor Swift, but they don't show the hundreds of hours of sitting and writing music, the hundreds of hours of sitting and playing music. They'll show the success, but they don't show the hard work. And if you don't see the hard work, you'll see the guy win, the golf tournament, and you say, man, it's easy for him. No, it usually means that person has been out working and practicing and putting and driving and golf coach and swing coach and work and practice and hundreds and thousands of hours. Entertainment doesn't model that because that would be boring. Except that's one of the secrets. And it's the fourth reason why people don't stay motivated. The fifth reason, encouragement gaps, especially from family, or encouragement gaps from marriage. Dr. Dobson said, don't throw away your friendship with your child over behavior that has no great moral significance. There are plenty of real issues that require you to stand like a rock. Save your big guns for those crucial confrontations. And I call these encouragement gaps because if you don't have someone in your life who says, hey, you can do this, then what happens is that life will beat you down. life will knock you down. Life will just keep hammering at you. And if you don't have someone who says, hey, let me stop that. Let me tell you, you can be something. You can do something. For me, it was a man named David Melton. He played basketball at Tennessee Temple University. He came from Michigan, and he was the basketball coach at the school I went to. And he said, and I'd been the team, this probably will just amaze some of you when you see my incredible athletic ability. I started as the team water boy. All right, and I know that's shocking to you, because Ruth, you can say, how could someone of your incredible athletic ability be the water boy?
For the swimming team.
Funny. So the water boy, the coach, 2 years later said, why don't you try out? Because I know you'd really like basketball. And so I tried out. It was a small school. I made the team. In fact, in my senior year, I won the Coaches Award, which when he gave it to me, I thought it was a compliment, but listen to how the award was given. Because he said, the Coaches Award this year goes to one of our seniors, Dwight Bain, a person who has the most hustle. Because hustle makes up for lack of ability. And I heard that and I'm thinking, the Coaches Award, it's at a banquet. And then later it dawned on me, because it says Dwight Bain Coaches Award, no talent. A lot of hard work, no talent. But I knew how to hustle. Hustle makes up for lack of ability. Thank you, Coach David Melton, for giving me an experience to work really hard, and in that process of that, to learn an important principle. Because David Melton made a difference. My parents, Clinton May Bain, made a difference. I had people who said, instead of you can't, I had people who said you can. So I wonder, who did you have in your life who said you can do this? Did you have a parent, a grandparent, a coach? Did you have maybe a teacher, a Sunday school teacher, a youth pastor? Who did you have in your life who, instead of saying you can't, who did you have in your life who encouraged you and said you can? Let's take a couple of minutes for this exercise. We have a lot of visitors here. Do introduce yourself, give your name, and then share who encouraged you in your life. Do learn the names of the people at your table. Go. How many of you, the person that motivated you the most was your high school principal? High school principal. How many of you, the person that motivated you the most, was the next door neighbor? Next door neighbor. Yeah, how many, the person that motivated you the most was the Internal Revenue Tax collector? The person that motivated you the most was a police officer. A police officer. It's like Keith Richards, the rock and roller, who said, I've never had problems with drugs. I've had problems with the police, but I've never had problems with drugs. How many of you, the person that motivated you the most was a teacher? Like Pastor David talked about today, yeah? A coach. A coach. Yeah, a couple people. A parent. Wow, half the room. A grandparent. How many of you, the person that motivated you the most was your dog? I mean, Lassie. Because I just...
He never talks back.
Lassie was amazing, because if it wasn't for Lassie, Timmy had a problem, because Timmy just kept falling in wells, and Timmy was abducted by aliens, and Lassie had to always go and rescue Timmy. Encouragement gaps, because life will beat you down. Life will knock you down. And encouragement gaps, everybody has. So we need to be surrounded by people who, instead of beating us down, lift us up. Number 6 is escapism from reality. Escapism from reality. Sex, drugs, rock and roll, TV, social media, sports, video games. You can't be motivated about your life if you are busy watching virtual life. It doesn't work that way. Now, should we be against media? Absolutely not. We should be against things that block motivation. Media, like calmclass.com, there are more people, about 10 times more people than are here this morning in Orlando, that will watch this lesson. This lesson will go on because of media. Media can inspire you. I mean, there's this thing on the internet called YouTube, and you want to get inspired? We did this yesterday as a family. I mean, our cable system literally has thousands of channel options. Between that and Netflix and Amazon Prime, we have thousands of entertainment options, and we found the one that the whole family agreed to, and we watched it for hours and we laughed until we cried. It is called Cute Panda Videos on YouTube, and you can bring it or stream it right to your TV. Watch pandas on a slide. Hundreds of millions of other people around the world have, and we just kept watching, and then one leads to the next silly one, leads to the next silly one, and they are really funny. Now, what did that do for hours? Well, we laughed a lot. Didn't motivate us, but it was sure a lot better than watching silly stuff that didn't motivate, because there'd been some tension, and the tension turned into laughter, and the laughter turned into let's go do something fun. Instead of fighting over, I want to watch this or I want to watch that. Entertainment can motivate, but for most people, it's a way to spend their whole life. The average American spends 4 hours a day with media. And remember, most of the time that doesn't motivate them to work harder, try harder. It doesn't help them find the one thing. No, it can, but you've got to be very, very wise with your use of media. Number 7, emotional suppression. Emotional suppression, especially with fears. Harry Overstreet said, to the immature, other people aren't real. And when you sometimes say, how come, I just met that person, how come I can't remember their name? When you get so self-absorbed into your own little world, you can meet other people, hear other people, talk to other people, and you literally, in a tenth of a second, you absolutely forget they exist. Because you're so caught up in your world, you really don't have any time for them and theirs. Look at some of the roadblocks. These are emotional roadblocks that people are up against. Each of these steals motivation: emptiness, doubt, labels, apathy, worry, jealousy, resentment, bitterness, fear, hatred, prejudice, blaming, addictions, laziness, dishonesty, cheating, comfort, burnout, loneliness, disappointment. This is magnified or grows worse, and circle it by denial or by blame shifting. Because if you deny or you blame shift, you don't deal with the real issue. Andy Stanley said, if it suddenly became impossible for us to cover up all the junk we normally hide from the rest of humanity, I have a feeling that we all would get real motivated to deal with and circle it, the source, the source of what ails us. Principle number 8, and this may be number 1 for some people: empty life, no purpose. Andy Stanley teaches direction, not intensity, determines your destination. An empty life with no purpose. Because if somebody doesn't know where they're going or what they're doing, then any road will take them there. And an empty life with no purpose, listen to some of these character qualities. These are people that don't have a fire in their belly. They get bogged down in daily life problems. They're easily angry, but they stuff it inside. They look fine until just the right moment. You bump something and they just explode on you. They run away from reality into escapism activities. They lie about the past to impress other people. They take credit for other people's ideas. They cover up what they might have been by blaming other people. They have ongoing conflict with family or ministry associates or business associates. They have a difficult time with authority figures. They're always mad. They're playing the blame game, always blaming somebody else. They have fear of the future. They're afraid to try. They have a controlling personality that refuses to lose. They avoid the issues of personal responsibility to a destiny. If you say, why were you born? What is your purpose? They'll tell you how it's their mother's fault. They pass along the same tendencies to other people. An empty life with no purpose, I don't think there's a baseball bat big enough. And you say, well, yes, Dwight, there is. Because if you let people have hard life experiences, bankruptcies, foreclosures, failures, divorces, repossessions, then they will learn. Remember, this only works as long as you're hitting them in the head. You ever try to help a street person? Many of them don't really want to be helped. They're willing to endure hardship. You ever have a family member that because of drugs or alcohol, and you say, well, you know what, I'm going to let you lose your apartment then. As long as you're on this path, until you kill them, it hardly works. Because as soon as you stop, as soon as life stops hard consequences, they go right back to the problem behavior. There's a better way. Number 9, reason, elimination of responsibility. I've given you a resource from a writing project I've been working on. about how to identify, are you responsible? And so you can score yourself, if you're watching at calmclass.com, download the study guide to make sure that you can take this resource as well. 39 different categories to be able to see which level of maturity you function on. Do you function on the immature level, which if you're scoring yourself is from 0 to 50%? On like having control of your language, not using slur words, not using inappropriate language, because leaders don't do that. Being able to control basic things like your own health care or how you drive. Ruth, what you and I were talking about earlier today. When you take a look at this, immature is 0 to 50% of the time. Growing is 50 to 90% of the time. Mature, responsible, fully developed, on track, that's 90 to 100% of the time. 90 to 100% of the time, you can communicate what you really need. 90 to 100% of the time, you make wise choices. 90 to 100% of the time, you're unselfish in your relationships. And there are 39 different categories that you can score yourself on to be able to see, am I functioning in a responsible way? All right, so you move from that, and then you identify, are you immature, are you growing, or are you fully developed? When you're at the fully developed level, you experience greater success. That's different than on page 6 in your study guide of staying stuck in KIA. KIA, write it in your study guide, know it all. KIA is a know-it-all, right? So a know-it-all is like Wile E. Coyote. Do you see in your study guide? He has his genius card. Because Wile E. Coyote, remember, Wile E. Coyote is like a lot of people. He always had a plan to catch that roadrunner. Always. In fact, between Wile E. Coyote and the Acme Corporation, he had a plan. I will catch the roadrunner, I will have a rocket, and if you've never seen the cartoons, they're worth watching. You can see them on YouTube, right? And he would have the rocket, and it would just fly him along, and he would be able to scoop up and catch that coyote, but it never seemed to work. He never learned from his mistakes. And for decades, people laughed, but I want you to know, there are a lot of people who are KIAs. The book of Proverbs calls KIAs fools. Because a know-it-all in the book of Proverbs is somebody who's a fool. I know it all. I don't need any outside help. I can do this myself. Really? Ask the coyote how many roadrunners he's caught today. But here's the point I want you to see on this one. The person who's the know-it-all has a plan. They can spout off, here's what I need to do, and here's my plan, and here's my plan, and here's what I'm going to do after graduation, and here's what I'm going to do in my career. And so a knowing person, because if you just listen to them, you think, man, this person's got their life together better than I do. Ask them how they're working their plan. Ask them how it's going. Because they can talk the plan, they just don't have any responsibility to do it. See, many of the people that go to counselors or coaches, they know what they need to do. The job of the counselor or the coach is to get them to do it. They know what they need to do. Do people know that they need to work on their relationship and not yell and fuss and cuss at the people they say they love? Of course they know that. They just, the counselor's job or the coach's job is to boldly confront them to say, will you do what you know you need to do? That leads to number 10, extreme gaps in maturity. From a book called A Vacation on the Island of Ex-Boyfriends. Listen to this quote. It's a novel from Stacy Berlin. She said, "It was so unfair. My baby girl was going to grow up, but my husband wasn't." Ricardo DeRose said, "Mature men look into ladies' hearts. Immature men only look at women's body parts. They mention sex like they're obsessed. These kind of men are immature. They're enslaved by drugs and alcohol. They are helpless, bound by their desires." And then a bumper sticker I saw once that said, "Youth can only be experienced once. Immaturity can go on forever." And so when you think about it, turn to somebody at your table, if you're watching at calmclass.com, and just say, grow up. And it's one of my favorite phrases, one of my favorite personal growth phrases. Just grow up. Just grow up, would you? Just grow up. And then from that, I've given you from Dr. Paul Warren, a psychiatrist in Dallas. Paul was a child psychiatrist, and this is a wonderful chart of what's normal maturity. What's normal maturity for an 11th through a 5th grader through a 7th grader? What's normal? What's normal for middle adolescence, this is middle school, 8th grade through 10th grade. Now, if you're on task developmentally, take a look at this. It's on page 6 in your study guide. See where it has the different categories: physical, communication, separation, morals, behaviors, identity. Right? I guess it's on the top of page 7. Yeah, here we go. The top of page 7. Middle adolescence, see where it says view of parents? It is normal, it is perfectly normal for a 15, 16-year-old to be able to have a view of a parents that's very imperfect, even stupid. My dad doesn't know anything. It's a blame game. It's being able to say, if my parents would just get out of my way, I could do something with my life. That is normal 15-year-old thinking. The problem is when someone has that thinking and they're 50. Because life will just keep knocking them down until they find the carrot. This is not a good way to live, but it is the 10th reason. All right. So we have 10 different categories. By the way, as we were going through those 10 categories, I hope that you were kind of keeping score in your own life or with the people that you're thinking about. Because the more of the 10, the harder it is. The more of the 10, the harder you have to unravel that person, and the more life is going to knock them down. I hope you don't. But take a look at the categories. Failed, divorced, bankrupt, fired, suspended, arrested, repossessed, rejected. They all have one thing in common. You have to prepare for a better life, or you will keep repeating problems. You'll just keep repeating problems. And there's a little circle there because habitual and repetitive problems continue until there is a serious crisis or a serious choice. You see, you can learn from life knocking you down, but it's not a good teacher. I mean, experience is a hard teacher, but you don't get it till after you need it. That's why you read books. You learn from the experiences of other people, right? But as you take a look at this, the better option would be to say, I'm going to make a choice. Now, life doesn't improve automatically because evolution doesn't work. Life is devolving. If you leave people alone, what they will do is they will keep devolving. Basically, just think like a spiral. At the bottom is self-destruction. Without some type of a plan, without a carrot, people will just keep unraveling their lives. That's why if you give them $100 million, all they're going to do is crash because they don't have a plan and they don't have a carrot to motivate them. The top of that, by the way, would be self-develop, self-improve, to be the person God designed them to be instead of just continuing to be who the culture designs them to be. Now, I define this on 4 tracks. There are 4 tracks you can follow. Number 1 is the crash track. The crash track. And the crash track is life is hard. You keep making the same mistakes. The goal is to get on the right track. The right track, my personal opinion, is that most people know what the right track is. They know what the right track is for their career. They know they need to manage their money better. They know they need to take better care of their health. They know they need to honor the people that they're in relationship with. The right track, most people, if you ask them their New Year's resolution, what do you think you need to do this year for your career to be able to be 10% further ahead by this time next year? They could answer the question, most people. The problem is the next one. It's called the test track. The test track, like out at Epcot, there's a test track. It's an attraction where you can get in, and it shows you how they take General Motor cars and they test all these different things in the car. The test track is where you reinforce. The test track is where you reinvent. The test track is to be able to say, this will work. Will this work? Okay, we're not going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to use this kind of paint. We're not going to use this kind of paint. The test track is to reinforce the right track. The test track are daily disciplines. When you live on the test track of building the discipline, you get on the fast track. The fast track is the life that God designed for you to live. Now, how do you do that? You challenge people with the truth. Here we go. The indirect ways, because a lot of people are wasting life. Alexander Woollcott said there's no such thing in anyone's life as one unimportant day. Every day counts. We have to challenge people with the truth. Indirect ways to do that: stuffed emotions or silence. What's wrong, honey? I'm not going to tell you. Okay, then I'm going to watch ESPN. Okay, then I'm going to hit you in the head with this bat. To not tell people what the problem is, they can't do anything about it. Well, if I told him to wait, he wouldn't listen. But to just stay silent, nobody can do anything. We have a responsibility not to go silent, not to stuff our feelings inside, but a responsibility to speak up. That's the best way to confront. Hey, my needs are not being met, so you speak up about that. That's the best way to confront. The direct ways to confront, you can be stern, you can scream, you can shout, and would you add one more to that? You can shame. All right? Those are direct ways. You can embarrass people, but that's a stick. That won't get it done. Changing people's behavior, here's the one thing. 10 things that don't work, 10 things that drag us down. Here's the formula. Bible, belief, behavior. But underneath that, would you write the word brain, belief, behavior? Bible belief behavior is the Bible teaches it, I believe it, and I act like what I read about. I act, my behavior matches my belief system. But underneath that I said write the word brain and belief and behavior. That's where most people are. Their brain says, well, here's what should happen. Their brain says, I should get what I want. Their belief is, I should get what I want, and their behavior is moody and sullen. You know, other people need to do this for me. The key, the carrot is belief. This is the one thing. What you believe changes everything. What you believe changes everything. This is the one thing that motivates. If you believe that you can move forward in your career by gaining new career skills, guess what? You now have a carrot. I can have a better career if I will learn. Hablar español es muy importante en la Florida. ¿Es verdad? Sí, es verdad. Es muy importante. You will learn how to move forward. When you say it is important for me to improve my computer skills, then you will go to the Orange County Public Library where they offer over 1,000 free classes every month for career development. If you have a library card. Over 1,000. You can get your pilot's license in the flight simulator. Over 1,000 free classes a month, and every time I'm down there, because I love these free classes on computer skills and on being able to enhance your ability. Because I'm motivated because I want to be able to work in 5 years. I want to be able to help people. And if you don't know certain computer skills, then you're not going to be able to help people, right? It's just a different language. Once you can see, ooh, I want to learn, I want to grow, I want to help people, that motivates me. That's why I read a book or two a week, Pat. Because if I read more and learn more, then I can teach things in this class to help you. That's a carrot for me. Because I believe if I can learn something and teach it to you, and you can go and teach somebody else, we just made our country a better place. It's not electing better people. That doesn't seem to work very well. It's creating better people by saying, what were you put on this planet to do? What do you believe about your life? What do you believe matters? What do you believe you need to be doing to be responsible? And as you take a look in your study guide, the Apostle Paul asked that question to the church at Ephesus in Ephesians 4:15. He said, speak the truth in love and grow up in every way into him who is the head, Christ. From him the whole body, joined and held together by every joint with which it is equipped, when each part is working properly, makes the body grow so it builds itself up in love. To speak the truth in love may be to somebody in your life to be able to say, you sit around and you whine a lot, but you don't do much. You grumble and complain about what's not working in your life. Please tell me what you're doing. Please tell me what you believe needs to happen. One of the greatest ways when you're working with an unmotivated, moody person is to say, what do you think needs to happen? Well, somebody needs to fix it for me. Yeah, well, what if somebody doesn't show up? What are you doing about it? I believe changes everything. It's the carrot that God places inside of us. If you believe you want a closer relationship with God, don't pray for a pastor to come along and rescue you. Build a closer relationship with God. Change belief, change everything. Change belief, you change everything. There's your quote, Shelley. As you take a look at this, the last principle, if you want to motivate the people in your life, challenge them with powerful questions to identify their purpose. If you want to motivate unmotivated people, ask them challenging questions. Listen to some of the questions. What do you do best? What do you most enjoy doing? When you daydream, what do you dream about most? What captures your interest most? What are you the most confident about? What do you want to learn more about? If you had one day to do absolutely anything, what would you do? What touches your emotions more than anything else? Whom do you most admire and why? You see, these are just a series of coaching questions to get people talking. But when I'm able to ask someone, what do you believe? What do you believe matters in your life? What do you want to be remembered for? So many people are so busy sitting and complaining and grumbling, and they're moody and they're unhappy, and you want to just ship them off somewhere. No, I'm not talking about your husband, okay? I mean, stop. I can see you when you elbow each other. Come on. I can see that. You're dealing with a moody, unmotivated person. You ask them questions about their purpose. And you say, hey, what do you believe about your life? In the book All In, Mark Batterson shares this quote. I'm going to share it with you in closing because this is a good reminder to get you stirred up. Mark says, quit living as if the purpose of your life is to arrive safely at death. Set God-sized goals. Pursue God-ordained passions. Go after a dream that is destined to fail without divine intervention. Keep asking questions. Keep making mistakes. Keep seeking God. Stop pointing out problems. Start becoming part of the solution. Stop repeating the past and start creating the future. Stop playing it safe. Start taking risks. Expand your horizons, accumulate experiences, enjoy the journey, find every excuse you can to celebrate every blessing you can. Live like today is the first day and the last day of your life. Don't let what's wrong with you keep you from worshiping what's right with God. Burn sinful bridges, blaze new trails. Don't let fear dictate your decisions. Take a flying leap of faith, quit holding out, quit holding back, go all in with God, go all out for God. Do it today. You know, when I think about this class and those that watch at calmclass.com, find your carrot. Sit down, answer the questions in the study guide. You understood, the study guide took me about 2.5 days of straight work. I didn't do that because I'm a bored person. Now, if you hang out with me, you would say, no, you are a boring person. You sit in front of that computer and you read books and you take scribbles of paper. I've seen your desk, Pat. I mean, you have inspired me. I have little scraps of paper, and then I don't have to mail them to Daytona Beach. I actually can put them in the computer, and I sit, and then they turn into study guides. I didn't spend 2.5 days because I thought all of you would get it. Because I know some of you are so busy complaining or thinking, if he doesn't shut up, we are never going to get to Perkins in time to get the discount. Dear Jesus, shut that man up. Just take that carrot, just shut it right in his mouth. No, I spent 2.5 days because I thought, if you could figure out what you believe, if you could figure out the carrot in your life of what God put you on this planet for, you'd spend less energy grumbling and complaining and more energy changing the world that God put you in. That's why I teach. That's what this class is about for me, and as long as I have breath, I hope to keep teaching. Pastor David said, challenge your teacher. Can I follow you? All right? Yeah. On personal development, learning and growing, living out your potential, trying to figure out what I can do to help other people. Yeah, just follow me. You do that at Calm Class, but if you only do it here and you don't take this lesson and teach your coworkers and your family and your friends and photocopy it and scan it and share it with everybody you know, this isn't just to help you. I want to help a lot of people. I got a second chance at life. My carrot, my belief, God put me on this planet to challenge your thinking and gave me some skill as a teacher to challenge you to find your carrot. Find what you believe and then go do that. Let's pray that we all do. Father, thank you for these friends. Thank you for the opportunity to stir up the gifts that you've placed inside of them so they can go make a difference in the world. That's my prayer. Help us all to live better because of our time here. In Christ's name, amen. Hi, Dwight Bain here, and I want to tell you about calmclass.com. The website that you came to is actually a teaching lesson that we record in Orlando, Florida, every single week. You can actually come be part of the live audience. If you're in Florida, maybe you're visiting the Orlando area, come check us out. We meet at 3000 South John Young Parkway. It's on the campus of First Baptist Orlando, which is actually a pretty large place. So what you're looking for is a large building by a lake. It's a big 3-story building called Faith Hall. And we're in Faith Hall, upstairs in room 301. But if you don't get a chance to come live to the presentation in Orlando, then if these lessons about making your life work better, to get past frustration in relationships, maybe frustrations on the job, maybe you're just kind of feeling beat up about what you believe, If you enjoy these lessons, would you do me a favor? Would you tell a friend? Because by your experience of telling other people, hey, this website helped me, these lessons helped me, when you're doing that, you're helping take the message that we teach in Orlando and to be able to spread that to the entire world. And thanks.